Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast, episode 237, recording on Monday, June 16th, 2025. My name is Frank.
And my name is Sean.
And most likely, Huck will not be joining us tonight. He might be popping in later. He had a busy Father's Day weekend and sports duties, but this episode is dedicated to the Nintendo Switch 2 and all things Nintendo Switch 2. Huck has not played. You know, he's a loser. He hasn't ponied up the cash for this premium new system that Sean and I have. And I've dedicated my life to the Switch 2 the last 10 days. Where are you at, Sean? I'm ready to do.
Man, that really escalated from the previous recording we did.
What? I said I've dedicated every waking hour of my day. If that's not my life, I don't know. What is? Sean is revealing that this is the third time we've done this intro with technical difficulties, and he seems to be insinuating that I've escalated how much I've dedicated every moment of my waking days to the Switch 2. And it's been a lot, including the midnight launch, staying up till 4 a.m, playing, giving my all. What have you done, Sean?
I have enjoyed playing it. I did not go to a midnight launch. I have not been playing nonstop, but I played a bit. I'm ready to talk about it. I mean, we didn't get a chance last week because of Summer Game Fest, so people are dying to hear about the Switch 2.
I mean, I've been playing a few other games here and there, just my rivals and occasional COD, but I have dug into the Switch 2 in a lot of ways, including Welcome Tour, Mario Kart World, maybe Breath of the Wild with the Zelda Notes app. Done it all. And let's get into it. Let's stop fucking around. It's been 10 days. The people are waiting. Maybe 11 by the time you hear this. So, Sean, you've always been a bigger Nintendo head than I. You probably said the word Nintendo Indies or Nintendies or whatever the fuck they
Indies.
call it. Indies. I hate that. You love it. You're like, oh, Indies, the best system to play it on is a Switch and all stupid stuff like that. So you're the Switch guy. I'm not. I've always been a bit of a naysayer. And the Switch 2, let's get your reaction because people know I'm probably going to be negative. So, what do you got? What's your take?
If you're looking for the other side of the coin on this one, Frank, I'm not going to be able to help too much. I'm not that thrilled. But okay, I want to hear about your midnight launch experience, but before we get to it, I'll just give you a general impression. I was excited, as you have to be for a new console launch. I mean, that's just, they don't happen that often. You got to get into it.
Leading up to the day, there is no better feeling in the world than getting a new console, new controllers, new games, opening up that box. It can also be crushing lows like the Xbox One launch and the PS4 launch, which had tremendous issues connecting to systems and was a complete waste of time to go and get those things at midnight. So I will say this one went very smooth from that regard, but continue, Sean.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was excited, but, I think I already said, I'm kind of like, I'm more interested in Donkey Kong and Metroid Prime 4. Those are the games that I'm, really waiting for. But I like Mario Kart quite a bit. So I was kind of hoping for something big there. And, just in general, the hardware is very nice. The system feels great in your hands. The store works. It's not all stuttery. There's a lot to like about it, but it's just the games are not there, man. We'll get into Mario Kart, but I was a little disappointed with it. It's not terrible. It's fun. It's Mario Kart, but it just wasn't the sort of reinvention of the series that I was hoping it was going to be. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
All right, let's start with general thoughts on the console before we get into the games. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I am very impressed with this console. And I know I just said let's not talk about the games, but one of the reasons why I'm so impressed is Welcome Tour. I put a lot of time into that game, and it's teaching me things about this system, some of the features, things I thought I understood, and it's just presenting them in such a nice Nintendo way that I truly appreciate the innovation and design, no matter how big or small that's gone into this thing. If it's propaganda to make you think this system is worth more than it actually is, it's working.
Guy
Because
is drinking the Scarlet Kool-Aid right now.
I am under the spell. Well, if we're drinking red Kool-Aid, let's just be perfectly clear. It's going to be cherry. I don't do strawberry Kool-Aid. Not interested. Only cherry. There's a couple like bait and switches that are the worst things that can happen to me. One of them is someone gives you red Kool-Aid and you take a sip and find out it's strawberry, not cherry. That will ruin a day. Along the same lines, going to Tim Hortons, starting your day with a coffee and a donut, maybe two, maybe three, and you ask for a vanilla dip donut and you reach into that bag, depending on the Tim Hortons you go to, and you pull out the vanilla dip and you see round, hard, crunchy sprinkles. That's a day killer right there. I need them long, flat, and soft. That can change a day. But anyway, getting back to drinking the Kool-Aid of the Switch 2, cherry, delicious cherry, Nintendo flavored Kool-Aid. I mean, first of all, I got the system right here. These new magnetic Joy-Con connectors are incredible. They feel so good to snap in. When you put it in and then you get the little blue bar on the screen when it connects, and like how snappy and easy it is to take them off compared to how bad it was with the previous Switch, like putting the connectors on top and putting them in the wrong direction and trying to slide it into the case. It was a nightmare. And I have to say, they absolutely crushed the design with these magnetic Joy-Con connectors and metal SLR buttons with like a paper thin layer of metal on the button to have the perfect magnetic connection, as one learns when they do all of the quizzes in Nintendo Welcome Tour, which I've done. The buttons feel snappy and responsive, and I really like the new Joy-Cons and the feel of the console. The new kickstand is great. I rarely play in handheld mode, but I've dedicated some time to it just to evaluate it. And I'd say the screen is very vibrant. The thick layer, color layer filter that's there to present the perfect shade of red for Nintendo is working flawlessly. It is an LED screen, so I have seen a little bit of like light bleed and not a perfect uniform distribution on my screen when I've used it here and there. And has to be said, after doing the kind of twister touch games with my fingers on the screen in Nintendo Welcome Tour, it is very prone to fingerprinting and like leaving residue on the screen.
Yes, so I have found that, which is a little bit disappointing, but we should mention some people have been peeling off the protective covering on the screen, thinking that it's just like a thing you take off when you open the package. It is not, so don't do that. But so the screen looks great. It's bigger. It's got HDR, which is very nice. It can do 120 hertz apparently. So that's all pretty huge.
We played some games with Jay and Dwayne where we were guessing frame rates and refresh rates on things, and I thought that was a lot of fun. And it actually showed it demonstrated itself quite well. I love Welcome Tour. I'm the one person on earth who loves Welcome Tour.
Well, I did purchase it as well because there's nothing else to play. I wish it was a WarioWare game instead, but whatever. It does have some fun mini games. I will admit that.
Sean, we should be pumping out games for this thing. The
Yeah.
Did you do the coloring game?
No.
It's so good. Like we should just be pumping out coloring books on the Switch too. Like it
Yeah.
cannot be that hard. Oh, it's so satisfying with the mouse click. And I'm telling you, uh, someone is going to make great advantage of this. And let's talking about the Joy Cons, the new Joy Cons. Well, before I go pro, let's bring up a negative. I've been too positive. Um, why flip the blue and the red from the Switch One? On the Switch, the default like launch day, left Joy-Con was red, right was blue. And these are obviously black with hints of color of red and blue. Why? Why flip them? Am I the only one that's extremely bothered by this?
I didn't notice, to be honest with you, because I think I have a left Joy-Con that is blue. I think. I don't have the red.
Maybe. But I mean, that's the negative. The pro, the thing I thought was like a who gives a shit feature of this console was the mouse controls. And I've been nothing but impressed with the mouse controls. Like I love them. And I didn't put it all together when they showed it at like the first Nintendo Direct. But whenever I talk about people play FPSs with the mouse, my first comment is like, especially for Call of Duty, how do you live without force feedback and rumble on a mouse? It's like the most satisfying part of playing a shooter, especially Call of Duty. And I'm like, why aren't there rumble mice? Like, I'm sure maybe it affects accuracy, but there's got to be a way to do this. So the fact that I can use mouse controls and have force feedback via the HD Rumble 2, which is quite impressive, it's a game changer. Like I love it. If they announced a patch for Metroid Prime remastered with mouse controls and rumble, I would play it tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping they put out some kind of update for that because I've actually been playing a bunch of Metroid Prime Remastered. And yeah, so the mouse, I agree, works way better than I expected it to. I haven't had much reason to use it yet. I mean, it is worth noting that any mouse, any USB mouse does work, so you don't have to use the Joy-Cons, but the Joy-Cons do
You
work.
get the sweet rumble, dude.
Yeah,
Like
it's a good
it's
point.
so good. I can't believe no one else. I haven't seen this brought up anywhere. How that's such a unique feature and crucial for modern video games. Physical force feedback. I mean, in Welcome Tour, they tell you Nintendo was the first company to do this, going way back to the Advanced Rumble Edition and the Nintendo 64. They've been the pioneers of Rumble, and now they've brought it to mouse controls. I'm sure someone in the comments will say there are Rumble mice out there in the world somewhere. I'm not that familiar with them. Don't care. This is bringing Rumble mice to the masses as only Nintendo can. John, you're obviously looking up. Do Rumble
I
mice
see there are a few, but I see a lot of threads. Why don't mice have haptic feedback? So other people are also curious about this, but there are
not
some.
just like I mean, same goes for keyboard. Like if you're doing WASD, you're not getting force feedback in the keyboard. So if you're doing a dual setup with the left Joy-Con for movement and mouse for aiming, you get rumble in both. It's beautiful. So some game needs to take advantage of that in a very cool way. But I think that is a feature that 2 weeks ago I would have said, "Who cares? So dumb. No one's going to use this." And I've been, let's just say it, enamored with it. I love it.
I mean, it's definitely disappointing that the wheelchair basketball game is not a launch title. It feels like it
Yeah.
should be a launch title, but a couple other points on the Joy-Cons. Have you had any drift issues?
Like, I just want to be on the record. I've never had a drift issue on a controller in my life, period. And
All
I've
right,
owned
okay.
upwards, I would guess, conservatively, of 60 controllers in my life.
Maybe that's the problem. You switch controllers before the drift sets in. But I had
Well,
one
then
moment.
why are you asking me that now? If it's been 10 days and if it's a longevity issue, then
I mean,
why would
yeah,
it even be an issue for me, Sean? Huh?
Yeah, it's fair. Like I wouldn't expect that to kick in yet either. But I did have one moment when I was using the Joy-Cons pretty early on and I was just going through the store menu and it kind of got locked. It kept going to the right. I rebooted the system and it was fine after that, but I was really getting worried. And I have heard that there are some Joy-Cons that have had drift out of the gate. So I think the problem is not gone, but I don't think it's gone for like, PS4, Xbox, they have drift too. It's just less frequent. So
Yeah, definitely related to users, from what I can tell. But I'm glad you brought that up because I'd erased from my memory a terrifying experience, truly terrifying. I go into the midnight launch at the Seaway Mall, EB Games. I guess it's still GameStop technically there. Um, was about halfway in line, 50 people down. Thought I was going to have to throw down with some butters. I was not happy. Uh, I hate butters more than anything on the face of the earth. That's probably not, but I hate butting. It brings out such a visceral anger in me that I have to control and just hope everything works out. Otherwise, it's not going to be pretty. Um, but butting aside, I feel so bad for EB Games employees. This should be a 2-minute sale, especially for pre-orders. Okay, pre-order, good. Rest, whatever you owe on it, done. 2 seconds, credit card, boom, done. It was a nightmare. I think it took, they opened the store at midnight. I think it took 10 minutes, if not more, for the first person to leave the store with their console. And then I'm like, what is going on in there? Are they leaving out like the back secret entrance of the store? Why is no one leaving this place? And you get in there. Finally, it's your turn. You wait like an hour. I did talk to the guy later in the week. They were there till 4 a.m. And they're obviously, it's not their fault. They're like forced by management to do these ridiculous upsells, ask you about everything. Do you want any of these accessories? Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want the product protection plan? Do you want to pre-order Pokemon to get a midnight launch? And it just goes on and on and on, not to mention the people who pre-ordered a system and 20 amiibos that they can't find in the store. It is a nightmare. And God bless the employees there because they kept a smile on the whole time. And I don't know how they do it because they should have been out of there in an hour and they're just forced to do these upsells. And it's absolutely disgusting. It does no one any benefits. There's got to be a better way. But I mean, they must make money on it or else they wouldn't do it. Anyway, got my console, go home like a trooper, do the system transfer. I had done research. That's the one good thing about waiting in line. You can do all that research, watch the YouTube videos. So you're hitting the ground running when you get home. And do the system transfer takes like 10 minutes. Very easy, very simple. Prioritize some downloads and off to the races. Running, playing games by 1:45. Put in a solid 2 or 3 hours. Loving life. Like, this is Mario Kart thoughts going through my mind. But still just can't get enough of a new console. Just happiness. Better than Christmas, better than anything. And then I wake up the next day, like the day after, like Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. Time for round 2. Time to get going again. I'm dedicating my life to the Switch 2 for the next 10 days for Game Junk. I go to turn on the console. It won't turn on. My controller won't connect. Nothing will work. I'm like, whoa, this can't be happening. This cannot be happening. And I go to the dock. I pull it. No, this can't be happening to me. I'm going to have to buy a second one off Sean and figure what I have to do with this thing. Pull it out of the docking station. Press power button. It won't turn on. I'm like, is it not charging? Like, what's going on? I take out the AC adapter, plug it in directly. It's still not turning on. I'm getting scared, Sean. Things are not good. I'm like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? My life is over. I finally just go to some Reddit post and someone said they held their power button for 20 seconds and it reset. Bada
Beautiful.
bing, done, off to the races. Thank God, whatever Reddit user, thank God for you, Reddit user, who posted that. You made my day. But that should not be happening on a new console, especially when there's rumors about it, like getting bricked and all this stuff with if you open it early. I was really, really nervous, but it all worked out. So put in some time. Sean, what else you got? What were your first minutes, hours? What level of
Well,
ecstasy did you reach?
I mean, the first, played a bit of Mario Kart with the fam, four-player Mario Kart, which was fun. And then directly afterwards, did some game chat with you.
Did we do that opening night?
Yeah, for me,
Oh, okay.
because you got it the night before, and then
Oh,
I
you're
went to
open.
the
Yeah,
store the day of.
got it like a day later. You've only dedicated 9 days of your life to this.
Which I should say, we both had pre-orders, and we both just ended up going to the store to buy it at a retail store because it took longer than expected for the pre-orders to ship. Like, what's going on? Walmart
I
did
thought for
not
a
get
second.
here until Tuesday of the next week.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it still hasn't arrived.
No,
But
it did, but
God, I went that night. But I will also say, Pro Controller.
mhm.
I love the Pro Controller now. It is so nice.
Yeah, I mean, from the moment Frank had an extra one that I bought off him, they're hard to get apparently. Uh,
I saw at Walmart today when I was looking for a case, couldn't find one.
from the moment my fingers touched it, that matte finish, I just loved the feel of it.
Now, Sean, did you do the welcome tour for the Pro Controller and the quizzes?
Not yet.
Because I didn't pick up on this at all, but it's also true for the Joy-Cons for the most part. And I probably wouldn't have noticed if they didn't tell me, but so cool. No grooves where your hands go, or they limit the grooves. If you look at most modern controllers where your hands, it's two pieces that get put together.
Mm-hmm.
It's a grooveless design on the handles.
Grooveless design.
So you can't get dirt and grime in there, which, sometimes you got to get a business card or something, fish it out or do some cleanup jobs there. But yeah, grooveless design as much as they could, which now that I know about it, I feel it, man. I feel the difference. I can't go back to a grooved controller for the rest of my life. Fuck grooves. Never again. Your move, Sony. Your move, Microsoft. I'm not using grooves again. And also no grooves on the steering wheel, which we tried, which is a hunk of junk. Do not buy the steering wheels. I had to buy
Frank
it.
went all in.
Yeah, I was fully committed for the Game Junk podcast. You understand? For Game Junk. And I appreciated the groovelessness of the wheel, but functionally not my favorite thing in the world. So hardware wise, what haven't we touched on? I mean,
Well, I was hinting about the game chat thing. We got to talk about the camera.
oh yeah, we
man.
both got a camera before we knew that you could use any camera.
Yes.
And I have not done this. I wouldn't betray Nintendo like this, but I know Sean has tried a different camera.
I haven't, but I did look it up, and lots of the compatibility is quite good from what I understand. And many cameras out there are better than the Nintendo camera that you can buy. So, FYI.
Do they have convenient sliders that stop the feed of information? Do they have a tilt and a stand that's designed to go behind the exact height of the dock for placement behind the dock? Does it have? Is it designed? Are they designed to frame your face in a positive way by having extra height and avoid low angles? Or do they have a chip built into them and processing to help you reduce noise?
I don't think so.
Well, if you did the welcome tour, you would know that the Nintendo camera features all of those features. I really fucked that one up. But yeah, the Nintendo camera, not great, especially for my room. I'm pretty far from the TV. I've got a monstrous 77-inch OLED that it can't be right up front. So I'm either going to have to get a 10-foot USB cable to get it nice right on my ledge, staring at my old face when I'm playing. But we did try it. We should say this 2 days after had a little Switch 2 party at my house. You were there, Jay was there, Dwayne was there. And we did the 4-player camera finding faces, which I think is a pretty cool feature. I like that a lot. And I want more games to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a nice addition for sure. I will say the game chat, when we were just playing Mario Kart together, the two of us, I mean, it starts by trying to put a background behind you, and it was very pixelated, and the frame rate was terrible, as we've already come to expect. I don't see a lot of people using this feature, to be honest with you. I'm kind of more just hoping that, Mario Party and games like that are going to use the camera in interesting ways, but I don't know about that game chat. It didn't impress me.
Now the microphone tech is pretty good.
The
I mean,
noise
behind
reduction
my
was
TV,
decent. Yeah.
it does processing and filtering and noise reduction. Little welcome tour game has you turn on a vacuum or white noise from your phone right beside it, and it filters it all out quite well. So I was impressed by that.
Yeah, I think, well, the one thing I'm not sure about that I haven't tested is if you kind of had I don't know, noisy apartment with like lots of different sounds around you. I don't know if that would get filtered as well. Like if it's just a constant white noise, it works well. But I'm curious about some of these other scenarios.
From what I remember from the welcome tour, it's going to work like a charm, Sean. You don't even understand the processing going on here, the attention to detail that Nintendo put into this thing, the rubber feet that on the charge Joy-Con grip that let you stand it up vertically.
I'm
Are you aware of these things, Sean?
I wasn't aware of that. I'm surprised you didn't opt for the Piranha Plant camera that's out there.
I didn't hear about it until after I'd purchased the official one. Later found I saw it today actually, and it has the hoary kind of logo on there.
Hmm.
Not interested. Official Nintendo only for me. Including what's that stupid controller thing you and Jay swear by?
Split Pad Pro, which is not out yet, but I'm really hoping for because it doesn't. That's one thing actually, playing it in handheld mode, which I only did a little bit of. It's heavier and bigger than the other Switch. And with the sort of how thin the Joy-Cons are, I didn't find it that comfortable to use for long periods of time. So I want a little more meat to the sides of that thing.
I haven't played that much in handheld mode, but it was definitely better than the Switch One. Maybe I was noticing some of the slimmer curves on the side and extended L and R buttons that really wrap around the top of the controller, the grooveless design, all the cool little things I picked up on Welcome Tour. I'm really feeling in my hands. And I just love Welcome Tour. But anyway, I think is there any other major feature? Oh, let's interface. Like the OS really hasn't changed much at all. As you mentioned, like the online and store were so clunky in the past. So at least they're a reasonable speed now. Still not great in my opinion. But I don't did the Switch One. This is going to be embarrassing if it had it, but I never got to a point on the Switch One store where I could just repeatedly go in without a password. I always had to enter a password. And the first time I signed in with the system, it was like, do you want to just always sign in? Yep. Beautiful. That is kind of a game changer for me.
Yeah, I don't remember. I always signed in, so it may have been there as like a setting you had to go to in the menu somewhere, but I'm not sure.
What else? Let's take a look at this thing.
So I wanted to mention, I mean, this kind of ties into one of the games I played, but the game share feature. I don't know if you, I assume you probably didn't have a chance to try this out. This is more for
Sean, I live alone and I don't have anyone to share games with. Thank you.
So this is for local co-op, and I tried it with Survival Kids. I don't know how many other games support this currently, but it works with
Bot Survival Kids?
I did. We'll get into it. But the it works with the Switch One, which is kind of cool. So I have an old Switch One. Sat down and you go into the game and you start game share, and on the Switch One, there's now a game share icon on the bottom of the menu, and it kind of downloads information. And I don't totally know how it works. I think there is some streaming happening between the two devices or something, but it worked flawlessly. Like it was like both consoles had the game, and playing local co-op was great. So
Nice.
it's
And no
kind of a
matter
cool
how
feature.
you hold the consoles or how other people hold them, there's four antennas optimally placed outside of where your hands might be on this console. So no matter how you hold it or use it, you're going to get a perfect connection with all wireless technologies. Thank you, Welcome Tour. I
You
learned
could probably
so
you could go
much.
work at a Nintendo store now. You've got all the
I,
brochures memorized. You're good to go.
I would tell you if I listened to this podcast and I had a Nintendo store, I would hire me right away. I'm way better than any salesperson I've interfaced with in the last 10 years of my life. I know this. I love this. I lived it for 10 days, the grooveless life. It You can't go back. Um, Again, kind of disappointed that there's no major OS changes or like your friend list. Any of that stuff is still pretty basic and uninteresting. I would like more alerts or rich presence as to what people are doing in games, and it's just not
Mhm.
Nintendo's thing. It seems like it will never be their thing, and I think it's pretty disappointing.
I was just thinking, so I think the Switch 2 has the ability to record gameplay. I don't know. The Switch 1, I think, had it, but maybe only like very short clips. But I think the Switch 2 adds, just regular record as long as you want, I believe. I haven't tried it. Uh, Trying to think of what other new features there are. I mean, the virtual game card thing was launched just prior to the Switch 2 coming out. We did talk a bit about it. I don't know if you've had like, I mean, that's more for if you are still using your Switch 1 and you want to have like if you just had a Switch 1, you bought a Switch 2, all of your games basically worked. I Have you come across any games that were not compatible?
No, I looked it up. It's mostly Labo stuff, and I think Switch 1 2 doesn't work, or some of it because it needs infrared, and the Ring Fit, the leg, would you call it, harness does not hold the new Joy Cons.
Okay. But yeah, I guess if you decide you want to play a game on the Switch 2, you kind of have to do the whole like, I'm going to take this virtual game card and put it in my virtual slot. So now I can't play it on the Switch 1 while I'm using it on the Switch 2.
Now, we did do some of this bouncing back and forth with the Super Nintendo or NES console, and when we were checking Tetris controls and flaws with the controllers, and it it let us bounce back and forth pretty easily. I didn't have to wait, or it didn't say, oh, the wheels weren't spinning, waiting for something to free up. It would just go back and forth pretty seamlessly. That's not technically not a virtual game cart, I don't think, but I would assume it works kind of similar. But yeah, the virtual game carts or whatever that is don't really, not something that applies to me, I don't think. The other new feature, I would say, two things we should touch on before we get into some of the games. The new GameCube virtual console. If you have the expansion pass, I think is the only way you get that on
Mhm.
there. Only three games on there right now: F Zero, uh, Wind
So
Waker,
Soul
and
Calibur.
Soul Calibur 2, featuring exclusive character Link. And I did buy a GameCube controller. They were back in stock yesterday night, I think. So that's on its way. I haven't used it yet. But I just hopped on for some F Zero. Seemed pretty good. I had fun. I missed that game. Just wanted to give it a test run. That's about all I did with that. Did you try anything on there?
No, I don't think I tried any of the N64 or GameCube stuff. Sorry.
All right. And then last kind of PSA feature, if you do have an expansion pass, be careful. If you have the online with expansion, you get the Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom upgrades for free. It's when you go to download it, I think it prompted me to download the expansion pass version. Don't go to the store and buy it. It's not perfectly clear how that works, but
Yeah, if you go to the store, it'll just look like you have to buy it for $30 or whatever it
15,
is.
I think.
But there's like a link to the left under the title of the game that says download. And if you just do that and you have the Switch online, you'll be able to download it.
Or if you just go to, if you do the system transfer, I think when I went to go manually get it to download, it upgraded that version automatically. So just be careful. I mean, buy it if you want. Like go nuts. I don't care. Have fun. But if you do have the expansion pass, just do a little due diligence there to make sure you're getting the right version. And I think that's it for system features, technology. I will say, Alex, our friend from Pixel Knots, next time I talk to him, I'm really gonna chew him out. His adapter didn't work. Like he got a new console, his console wouldn't charge. The AC adapter was broken, and he just went and bought a new one. He didn't return the console.
What?
I got to get the full story here, but so that was one kind of like I can't believe he didn't return it. He just went and bought another adapter. Alex, got to talk to you about that was not good. But Sean, I feel like we're missing a feature here.
I don't think so. Nothing's coming to mind right now.
Okay.
Maybe it'll come up as we talk about the games.
All right. You want to start with Mario Kart or Welcome Tour?
Well, I think you got to start with Mario Kart, even though Welcome Tour is where Nintendo wants you to start.
Okay. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, so Mario Kart World is a Mario Kart game that feels like most other Mario Kart games. So uh, I guess I'll just jump right into the free roam because that's the thing that I was like kind of intrigued by. That's sort of the selling feature of like that's why it's called Mario Kart World, and that's the new thing about this game. And it's pretty empty. It's cool driving around the world, and there are some things you can find, and there's challenges and stuff. But it's I don't know. After a while, I was hoping for the Forza Horizon type thing, but from a Nintendo perspective. Give me, maybe not a story, but give me a reason to want to explore and go to all these different places. And they don't really do it that well. There's question marks you can find in each section of the map. There are stickers you earn for doing certain things, and there's costumes you can unlock. And I think there's one other thing. Isn't there something with Princess Peach? I can't remember what it is.
Peach medallions,
Peach
question
medallions.
mark blocks, and P switches for challenges, Sean.
Yes.
And the I'd been playing a bunch of Mario Kart 8, like just getting ready. Kind of pre-living the Nintendo life leading up to the Switch 2. And if you've played Mario Kart 8 recently in any capacity, opening up this game is shocking. This is your clip, Sean. It is shocking to open up Mario Kart World. It is the exact same game. Like the menus are identical. I would say this game shares 75% of the code with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a game that's like 13 years old from the Wii U.
It's got a lot less levels too, a lot less tracks.
I mean, that I understand. You're getting a new set of tracks,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously, if at this price point And the elephant in the room is they raised the price to the point where this game is now $120 in Canada if you don't get it with the bundle. So
Mhm.
to open to fire up this game for the first time and see it's the exact same game for the most part. We'll get into the differences. It's like a shocking revelation that the first direct is like, oh, this is open world Mario Kart. It's a game changer. This is the new feature. And you go in, I'm like, I don't see open world anywhere here. It's my typical Grand Prix, new knockout tour, the battle royale mode, multiplayer. I'm like, is this the same game? What's going on? And then finally you see like free roam or nap, a little icon at the bottom, a little circle, not featured
It's
at all.
Yeah, like for something that was the big selling point of this game, it feels very hidden away. It's almost like you don't really want that. You just want to race your friends and go online. That's all you want to do.
Now, after the initial shock, I went into free roam and I was really unimpressed. It's the challenges are fun, but I mean Nintendo when they pitched an open world Mario Kart and kind of the wall jumping and all these like maneuvering you can do to reach new heights, almost adding a platforming element to a racing game. I mean, that's the frustrating thing with Horizon open world stuff is there's like billboards you have to hit that you're at the mercy of physics and it takes 20 tries just to hit the right velocity with the right car to collect some of those things. Like Nintendo is going to make this fun. They are going to make it fun to explore a world in a vehicle. And I would have to say they did not. They did not make it fun. And it's fine. Like I would give that mode like a 7 out of 10 or something like that. It's fine to spend some time, but the real problem with it is like the modern standards of collectathon games is not upheld to any degree. I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know how much stuff I need to find. There's no benchmark for am I done an area? And it's selective. It tells you how many question mark blocks you found. So I don't know why that's the important thing to know that you've collected, but not P switches and coins. And even at a high level and track level, there's no way to keep track of this stuff. Like that is truly embarrassing. I mean, how can that's a bare minimum standard for a collecting game nowadays, even if it's, well, to start, we don't tell you, but you can find things and buy things to help guide you. And, you kind of learn these economies help aid you if you want. If you don't want it, that's fine. But if you want it, there's avenues to getting a little more information or getting you to that point where if I found a bunch of stuff, how do I get the last few things I need?
Yeah, or like, there are some great open world games that kind of just set you loose and say, go explore and find cool stuff. And if there is cool stuff to find, sometimes that's all you need. That's great. I read I think it was like a post on Reddit or something that kind of stuck with me, where somebody was like saying they were playing with a friend, and as they were going through the world, their friend kept being like, "Oh, look, that Toad's having a little picnic over here. What happens if you go up to him and over there? Or like, what if? Oh, I saw this cool thing over here. What if I jump up there?" And it's like the answer is always nothing. Nothing happens. It's all just decoration. Like,
It's true. And I mean, Breath of the Wild obviously comes to mind. I played it a lot today, and it doesn't give you a lot of direction either. And it had me reflecting a bit to like, you know what? Maybe Nintendo does less of that than I think, where they just kind of flatly encourage exploration, which seems like it would be a Nintendo philosophy to some degree. But that's not entirely true either. All the modern 2D Mario games, Mario 3D World, they give you a benchmark for coins, stamps, whether it's the same in every level, so you know what you have to find, and it tells you whether or not you found them yet or completed a level. Mario Odyssey, for me, is the gold standard for platforming exploration open world games. And for them not to apply things they've learned from that game to this is kind of shocking to me. And let's just take it back one step further. Breath of the Wild doesn't tell you what to do necessarily, doesn't tell you what you have left to find. It lets you explore, but it pushes you in directions via story. It has like, okay, here's one possible carrot you can follow to give you a general sense of direction and find things on the way. This game doesn't introduce you to any of the mechanics. In order to find out how to do like the wall jumps and like the new jumping in place, or there's a way to like spin in place so you can aim and direct yourself, it's all done through some little menu that you have to read things. It doesn't even teach you how to do any of this stuff. It's like, that's sad.
I mean, Nintendo, if anything, has too many tutorials in most of their games. So I don't know why it's missing here, but
I mean, I'm part of me thinks that the reason why Donkey Kong is not delayed, but they waited till July is because I don't think when all the dust settles, the reviews for Mario Kart will be all that hot. And it was like, well, we'll pack it in with the console and it'll have a long tail, and then we'll get people to spend money on that. Where if they had to choose between the two, I think most people would have picked Donkey Kong and like definitively picked that game.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Reviews have been pretty strong, and Mario Kart is a system seller potentially, but
Which the reviews, and especially initial reviews, were mind blowing to me. Like, how can you not see if any other open world game was held to this standard? It would get like fives and fours out of 10. And I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt because it's kind of an add-on mode, but Nintendo did not sell it as an add-on mode. They sold it as the key feature to the game and kind of alluded that's why this game's $120 or whatever it is in your country. And then it's just standard Mario Kart 8 aside from that. And this is where it gets really like bad in terms of modern standards for games. Multiplayer. The only tracking progression systems options is some number that goes up by hundreds, or you got some number that starts at 3,000 and goes up and down that represents how much you've played this game. There's no tracking of medals, awards, things you've done, just a standard of variety of game modes. There's Grand Prix and Knockout Tour. I love Knockout Tour. I think it's great, but it definitely doesn't give you options for skill-based games where there's no items. For racing with friends, we tried to enter a race together and it was a nightmare. Like matchmaking, parties featuring Nintendo Game Chat, it's nothing. It's like truly embarrassing.
yeah, I mean, there may be some stuff that I missed, and I haven't put as much time into this as I thought I would, which again maybe says something. But yeah, the Knockout Tour was fun. It's Mario Kart. It's still a fun game, and I
Mario
think
Kart will always be good. No
yeah,
one's saying Mario Kart isn't fun.
and like the rail grinding and wall running and all that stuff is fine. Like it's a little bit frustrating in that you kind of have to charge up the jump, and sometimes the timing on it is tough
Yeah.
to do.
I think that wall jumping, grinding, I think that's a complete failure by Nintendo standards. You cannot like when you do a barrel roll, and like Dwayne and I were trying to do blue coin challenges. It's not about a skill of like starting a jump and then aiming and landing properly. Your momentum's set when you jump off the wall. It becomes an exercise in memorizing where you jump from and doing it at the right time rather than having some flexibility of skill. Like these systems clearly exist in games like Ratchet and Clank and other platformers where you jump from rails and it kind of locks on or has some flexibility. It's so hard to time these jumps and like make it fun. It's not fun to do at all.
I mean, they added a rewind feature,
Yeah.
which I think they had to put that in there because otherwise it would be too frustrating to try and do some of these challenges.
Yeah. I mean, the rewind feature is good. I like it. But by Nintendo standards of mechanics being fun on their own, I think the new additions to Mario Kart are a failure. But I still think the basic racing is still good. In terms of tracks, I feel like these are like the most boring tracks ever. A lot of them are just obviously going part of the Grand Prix is now you do like a road race to get to the next lap like that. Those are mostly straight lines. And the other tracks are really just ovals. There's no like crazy design. I think of some of the tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or even in Mario Kart 64. They were intricate and interesting. This is like clearly designed for the most like broad appeal of accessibility. I haven't had a turn that's been difficult at all. It's all just like very simple turns. And I would try to get 3 stars on cups in the Wii version and 8 Deluxe, and it would be a struggle. Like I'd have to like use the brake and do some maneuvering. I don't have to do any of that in this game.
Yeah, so I mean, with the tracks, one thing that kind of occurred to me, like I feel like they kind of screwed themselves with Mario Kart 8. Like it's almost like when Rock Band started releasing songs online, and now you don't care about buying the next Rock Band because you can just download whatever songs you want all the time. Like Mario Kart 8 had so many tracks available that like these new tracks had to be amazing to really, make it worthwhile. And they're okay. They're just I don't know, nothing was blowing me away.
I would say across the board, less interesting than any tracks in Mario Kart 8. And I would say like I kind of prefer the hover mechanics and like how the vehicle would adapt more in that game than I do in this game. There's some cool tracks, like the Donkey Kong track is cool. The one like the ghost house with the film strips and all that stuff. Like there are cool tracks. Don't get me wrong, but not cool in terms of track design. Like the gray boxes for these tracks are almost identical. Like you can make one of these tracks a week. This is not hard to do.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to add a level editor option. That feels
That'd be
like
interesting. Yeah,
that would be something that would really make this worthwhile. But
I love the retro tracks. I love when they like redo stuff from the SNES and old consoles, which obviously Deluxe 8 had a ton of. And I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they'll add stuff like that to this. But like it's like a 7.5, 8 out of 10 for me. It's Mario Kart, it's fine. But in terms of modern standards for multiplayer, matchmaking, tracking, progression, and open world, I mean, it's really not up to snuff. And I'm shocked that more people are not calling this out,
yeah, I
especially
mean,
considering the price. I don't care about the price all that much. I don't like get bent up, but a lot of people do. And if there was any game that did not justify its price in the history of games, it's this game.
yeah, and I could say like my kids were enjoying it and just kind of wanted to do the free roam to unlock all the costumes. And I don't know, I don't think they've done all of them, but then they kind of fell off. That was it. That was all like they wanted to do. So
Even the
um,
costume selection, some characters have 9, some have 2, and then the way you sort them, it's not even pick a character then a costume. It's just like all this big dump of costumes to pick, which I find like really unappealing to look at and to pick things through. It doesn't feel like it hits Nintendo standards. And a lot of people mentioning Miyamoto not thanked in the game.
oh, really?
And put this out there. I don't think he wants his name on it. I think he asked his name to be taken out of the credits.
Wow.
This is not up to Nintendo standards, in my opinion, especially for a launch title for a beloved series. But I'm still playing it. I'm doing the cups. The cups are fun. It's Mario Kart, but if it had just been a performance update for Mario Kart 8, I would have been fine. Like I'd still be playing it the same amount. It's the same game. Like the
Yeah,
fact that the chat doesn't like we chatted and like, okay, let's join a race. Let's get in a race together. And that was a nightmare. Did we even successfully do it? I don't even remember if we did.
um, trying to
I just
remember.
no, I had to
Well,
start a private room and then I couldn't invite. It was just us against computers. We couldn't take 2 of us and join like a public
yeah,
match.
I'm sure there is a way to do it, but yeah, we had issues.
I don't think so. I
And I
think
think,
their argument would be then people can coordinate and cheat and like save blue shells to let people get ahead, but
mm,
just give people the option. Like every multiplayer game has lobbies, different ways of playing. You accept certain risks and faults. Like open it up. This is 2025 for fuck's sakes. This is like a
yeah.
not that much different from Mario Kart for the Wii in terms of multiplayer.
So that you reminded me of one other thing I wanted to mention, which is that a lot of people, if they have kids in particular, were kind of disappointed that the free roam does not have local co-op. You can only technically only play that in single player. There is sort of a workaround, which is what you mentioned. You kind of go to online mode and create a room, and then just sit in the room with two players on the same system, and you can just drive around the world. But I think the P switches are not active in that mode, so it's kind of not the full free roam, which is weird.
Yeah, I mean, all these things should be there. This game feels like it would take a year to develop, if
Yeah.
that.
I mean, how long has it been in development
I would
for?
love to know. I would
Yeah.
not be surprised if it's just, hey, Mario Kart 8 track team, make some new carts, throw some programmers on it, throw 5 people on the open world. It feels like that's how many people made that. Obviously, the tricky part would be coordinating how the open world integrates, and that would take some planning. But yeah, I was really shocked is the word when I fired it up for the first time.
Yeah, and I guess just to like transition into some of the other games, like, I feel like in recent years, console launches have had less day one launch titles that are kind of exclusive to that console, partially because the backwards compatibility. A lot of people just assume, oh, well, if you've got a library of older games to play, that keeps people happy. I thought this would have more just because it's been like in development for so long, right? Like they supposedly delayed the Switch 2 by almost a year. You would have thought that would have given them an opportunity to have more launch titles, and there's not a whole lot out there.
Yeah, and I in the past, and I will do it now, give credit to Nintendo where they do a lot of DLC and free stuff. And with Nintendo, the Nintendo online expansion is a very good value. It's hard to say anything other than that. So, I mean, I hope they, good things come and updates, but as a launch, it's, I'm surprised more people aren't roasting this game. Uh, it's all under, yeah, but it's Mario Kart. Yeah, I know it's Mario Kart, but that does not. It was Mario Kart 8, and I owned it already. I don't know why I have to pay $120 for a shittier version of it.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, just a new Mario Kart game, because it has been quite a few years, is an exciting thing. But
Yeah, and maybe in 4 years after it's added a bunch of stuff, we'll look back and say, okay, this is a very good value now, but at launch, it feels like a bit of a bait and switch, especially the open world stuff. I mean, Mario Odyssey, top 3 game of all time for me. Love everything about it. And except for the jump rope challenge, the worst thing ever. Nintendo game. Um, but that's the standard. This is the company that, to me, has the best platforming open world exploration, and they're not even applying the tenets that they came up with themselves to this game at all in any way. It's sad. Um, anyway, I think I've said all I need to say about Mario Kart.
well, let's get into the game you love. Is it Switch 2 Welcome Tour or is it Nintendo Welcome Tour? What's the official title?
Console here. Let's see. It is Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour.
Okay.
Now, this is the game that's getting roasted because
Mhm.
everyone thinks, like, I don't understand the value. This game is $10 and everyone's saying
Mhm.
it should be free. But
Which it
Mario
should.
Kart went up in price by, is it 20 or $30? And it's the same game. Like it is not, that math does not make sense to me. In terms of value and time to develop, there's a lot that actually went into Welcome Tour. Um, and let's let's not get it twisted. I don't think it's the greatest game ever, but I bought it as kind of a joke, like whatever. It's $10, $15 in Canada. Of course I'm gonna buy it. What the fuck you think is gonna happen? Uh, and I was like found myself really getting engaged in the mouse games, especially, and seeing all the features. Actually, thinking the quizzes and learning about the design of the system is fun and interesting. And I was like genuinely impressed, not in like a blowing my mind way, but I thought I was going to turn this thing on once and never play it again. I'm going for 100%. I'm doing everything, and it's a challenge and it's fun.
Yeah, no, the big thing that was kind of going viral about this game as well is that you need all these extra accessories to 100% the game. I don't remember what the price tag on that was, like something like, over $1,000 anyway, of because you need, what are all the accessories you need to 100% it?
I believe you only need the camera or a camera. I think I don't know if you can complete that with a non-official camera. I assume you can, and a pro controller, but maybe not necessarily a pro controller. Even it just one thing we haven't mentioned: the pro controller, and I think the chargeable Joy-Con adapter holder have new buttons on the what do you call the cocks of the controller, the handles, the grooveless handles have buttons on the back, GL and GR, that are programmable buttons. And there's some challenges that you have to like use those to do like these kind of contortionist button push things that I
Okay.
don't, I'm sure there'll be third party controllers with GL and GR buttons and maybe other things, but I think those are the two things you need for sure. I don't think you need the Joy-Con wheel. Um,
I know people mentioned that you need a 4K TV. I mean, that seems like
oh yeah,
it's,
you do.
I don't know if that's included in the price tag that they're talking about,
That's
but
true. Yeah, I mean, it's the ultimate elitist game.
but
It's the
at the
only way to
same
live.
time, people complaining about that, it seems weird to me because there's no achievements. What, like, why is 100% in this game such a, why do people care? Like, I don't know.
Ironically, it does such a better job of collecting, tracking everything you need to do,
That's true.
telling you when you've 100%ed something, completing it. Like, it's better, way better than Mario Kart in terms of a collecting game. Like the what's
Yeah.
expected of a modern collecting game. So I found that to be quite ironic. And I just really, a game I thought I'd buy as a joke, the mouse games, and like even the rotating of the mice and how it uses some of those features, I think are really cool and had me thinking about simple, fun games that people will be able to launch on this console and do some cool stuff with. So I'm very happy with my time with World Tour. I've probably put in 10 hours. I think I put in 11 hours in Mario Kart World, and I probably put in a shocking like 6 hours into Breath of the Wild today. It hooked me. I was like, I'm loving this game.
Well, we'll get to that in a sec. I mean, I don't really have too much else to say about Welcome Tour. I mean, I'm not quite as crazy about it as you are, but like I agree, the mini games are pretty fun. For the price tag, and again, a system that does not have a lot of other exclusive launch titles. It's not the complete cash grab that maybe people would have you believe. Like it still is a game that you're going to probably have some fun with.
Now, have you? I don't want to get into spoiler stuff. Like, how far have you gotten in Welcome Tour?
I think I'm on the third area,
Oh my
so
god,
not
dude, it gets
not that far.
crazy what
Yeah.
you learn about on this thing.
Oh,
And like as developers and like tech guys, I thought it was fascinating. I mean, spoiler, plug your ears if you don't want to hear this, listeners or viewers on YouTube at youtube.com/game junk. You go into the guts of the system, you go into the interior, you see how the heat sink works, the system on a chip. You like learn all this technical. It's really cool.
Hmm.
I wish I had something like this for every console I've ever bought. It truly made me appreciate the console in a new way. And like the tiniest design features of like how one of the feet on the dock has a plastic ring around it so it won't topple over. And like the tiniest things they did across the entire console, I was like, I never would have noticed that. And now that I know, it's actually really cool. And if you like design or, you know, manufacturing or like how it's made type of stuff, this game is very interesting and fun.
Yeah, that's true. That's an angle that I think some people will definitely appreciate.
And I'll just add one negative. You do quizzes. You do like 5 slideshows and then you do a quiz on what you learned. Definitely something I gravitate towards. I like quizzes and tests. But they kind of failed the one part, which is after you do the test, it's like there's supposed to be this moment of suspense where were you successful or unsuccessful? And they draw a little line and then pause before they finish the check mark. But once you've done that once, there's no line if you failed. So you know right away, like the suspense should be like some other icon or logo that like you don't know how it's going to finish, which seems like such an obvious like mechanism for suspense that I don't know how they didn't do that.
Yeah, it should be the start of an X or the start of a check
Yeah.
mark.
And then you find out it like it's so strange to me that like, you know right away what it's going to be. You're just waiting. It's like a complete failure. But I would give that game like a 4.25 out of 5. Like I got my money's worth and more from that thing. You know what? 4.5. This might be on my top 10 list.
Now we're talking.
Oh yeah. And I'll say another game I've been playing on this thing might be in my top 10 list, but we'll get to that later.
Well, we should talk about the game that just dethroned Claire Obscure from the top of the Metacritic Best of the Year list, Breath of the Wild.
but not Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, interesting.
And I just want to say, it seems I saw an opinion piece on this today. It seems like the world is finally starting to come to grips and admit that Breath of the Wild is a better game than Tears of the Kingdom and always will be. And I've said that since day one. I will stand by it till the day I die, and I am correct.
I mean, I don't think that's like a super controversial statement. I think most people agree with that, but
not at the time, dude. Everyone was screaming for tears of joy. And I'm like, pump the brakes, relax. There are flaws with this game. Breath of the Wild is a superior game. So, anyway.
But yeah, I mean, both of those games, like I would say that is the best reason to buy a Switch 2 if you do not own a Switch 1 or have not, have a back catalog of Switch 1 games you have not played, in particular those two games. That is probably the best reason to get a Switch 2 right now.
So I've been doing some just general research. There are games that got updates for the Switch 2, like actually new patches and versions for the Switch 2, mostly Nintendo Mario games, Odyssey, Bowser's Fury, Captain Toad, that Echoes of Wisdom, that have upgraded visuals, take advantage of HDR and faster processing. But I was reading an article that a lot of games are just benefiting from the processing power. And one of the big ones was Bayonetta, which apparently the trilogy was pretty choppy on the Switch 2. And it just, as is playing way better than previous versions. And I know a lot of people are talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet playing like at 60 frames per second and way better than on the Switch. And I had taken that game from the library and tried it, and I just don't get Pokemon. I'm never going to get it, ever. I've given it so many chances. It's just not happening. This time was not an exception. Why do you want to, like, the whole start of the game is doing one attack and then throwing a Pokeball to catch the thing. You don't even finish a fight. You don't do anything. Like, the fights are 2 seconds long. It's more intro to the fight than actual fighting. It's such a strange game loop to me. Anyway, please in the comments, youtube.com/game show, tell me why Pokemon is good. Like legitimately, I want to know why it's good. I know I've asked this before,
You're talking about collectathons. You gotta catch them all, man. Isn't
but
that
the
the
process of collecting them is not fun.
oh, fair enough.
That's why collectathons are fun. Like it's fun to get the thing. In this, it's not fun to do the thing to get it. Um, okay, do you want to talk? So you played more like exclusive launch titles than I did, I think. So you want to talk about some of those?
Well, yeah, I think the only other one that is probably worth talking about is Survival Kids, which is a new version of an old Game Boy Color game, which I have never played and was not really even aware of.
Yeah, I'd never
Um,
heard of this game before, ever.
and I don't know how similar this is to the original. Actually, I think the original is on the Virtual Console or Switch Online now, if you want to try it. But it's a Konami game, and both are. And so this new one, it's kind of I wasn't initially that interested because it's called Survival Kids. I don't really like survival games that much, but I don't know if it is like it's a little bit in that genre, but it's definitely a lot more casual. There's sort of some puzzle elements, but basically you're on an island and you kind of are going around collecting resources, and then there's certain things you can build. They basically have these little boxes. If there's a place where you can build a bridge, there's a box there that'll say, okay, you need like 3 logs, 2 rocks, and a vine or something. So then you go around and you chop wood. You use your pickaxe to break some rocks, bring those things over, put them in the box, creates the bridge. And it starts out feeling very like they're telling you exactly what you need to do. And after the first couple of levels, it's not quite that anymore. And you're sort of going out and exploring certain areas of the island, looking for these things and trying to figure out how to reach certain areas. So there is a bit of an exploration puzzle element.
But what's the overall goal? Is it an Animal Crossing thing where it's customizing the island, or is it like solving puzzles, or like
I would
fully
say
exploring the island?
it's more of a puzzle game. So every level you kind of start at one point of the island and you set up camp and you're trying to find your raft, your broken raft. So as you work your way through the island, you're finding pieces of this raft, and at the end you put them all together and you sail away, and then you go to the next level. And it's a co-op game, so it's definitely built for co-op. It reminds me more of like an Overcooked like. Is that a genre? Can we coin that term? It's a lot of sort of repetition, busy work. You can carry stuff together. You can chop things. You can throw things to each other if you want.
No, I got to pump the brakes on Overcooked like for a second.
Okay.
It might be too bold. Just a couple questions. Like when you saw things, is it cooperative? Do you like, does each person hold one end of the saw and you have to communicate when you go back and forth? Like part of Overcooked likes has to be that you communicate and do things simultaneously. I'm not
Yeah,
giving
no,
in this game.
no, there is elements of that. It's not, I mean, in terms of Overcooked, it's not super hectic. You get certain number of stars based on how fast you get through the level, but it's not like you don't feel that pressure as you're playing through it necessarily. But you do, like, if you are both trying to pull something out of the ground. I guess one thing to mention, there's a stamina meter, and you can cook food to boost your stamina temporarily. So sometimes there's
Are the kids limited to different skills where like certain people can only be at one station in Overcooked and one character can do this and the other can't?
no, everybody has the same abilities, but there are, like, say, there's a fishing rod that you get, which you can use to catch fish. You can use it to like pull items that you can't reach.
Do you both have
And
the fishing rod or do you have to like pass it between each other?
I think you can both have one, but like there's multiple items you can get. So like there's like a fan you can get that like blows wind. And so it might be beneficial. One person, you can only carry one thing at a time. So maybe one person has a fishing rod, one person has the fan, and then you kind of work that way. You move faster and drain less stamina if you carry big things together. So it's kind of like that moving out game in that sense. So it's kind
Oh, Sean, I don't think I can allow this to be called an overcooked like. I'm sorry.
of okay. I mean, that's fair enough. But I think it
I
has
think I'm gonna have
elements
to
of
on the reviews I've seen like cozy survival. I mean, if I see cozy anywhere in a game description, I'm out.
uh,
I hate cozy games. I would just want to be on the record.
I am the same. Uh, and I don't like cozy games and I don't like survival games, but I am liking it. I'm not blown away by it, but there is something about it that, in particular in co-op, is just kind of enjoyable. You kind of divide up the tasks, you work together, and you just kind of do your thing. And a little bit of puzzle, but it's not super uh, complex. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, but I yeah.
Nice. I mean, uh, it's kind of expensive. Reviews aren't amazing, but uh,
Yeah, I
not,
did
not for
see.
me.
I it's weird because I had heard some good things about it initially, and then I think I checked the reviews. I don't know how many were up at the time, and it was like 50 something, and I was like, "Whoa, like that seems really low." I don't know where it is now, but to me it's like a 70, 75 maybe,
It did
depending on
not
what you're into.
look very good visually to me either. I thought it kind of looked like barf.
Yeah, it doesn't look amazing, but hey, that HDR really pops.
Okay. I mean, in Welcome Tour, when you see a barrel explosion in Breath of the Wild with HDR and without it, you'll never look at it the same way again, brother.
It's true.
Uh, okay, I'll say Breath of the Wild. I kept wanting to play it, but didn't dedicate any time. And today, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do the whole Great Plateau sequence. And initially, I fired it up thinking it was 120 frames per second. And I was like, this is going to look so good. It's going to blow my mind. I'm like, and I had my game optimizer on my TV, and I'm like, it's only 60. I can't get it beyond 60. I was
Yeah.
changing all the settings and all the stuff. And then eventually you read an article and it's like, oh, it only goes to 60 frames per second, which is still great.
Does it go to 120 on in
No,
handheld?
no.
I was surprised about that because I don't know if I'm right on this, but like I thought I read that the handheld goes 120, but on TV at 4K you only get 60 is the highest it can go.
I think it has the ability to do both. Like it does 120 frames. Sorry, yes, you can only do it at 1440p
Okay,
and
at
120.
120.
That's as
Okay.
high as it gets. But I mean, the handheld mode is I think 1080p, so it can do that and 4K whenever, or not 4K, 120 hertz. But anyway, the 60 frames per second looks great, plays super smooth, and I had to try out the Zelda Notes app via the official Nintendo Switch app. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do everything. I'm going to find everything using this app in the Great Plateau. And I did that. I had a ton of fun. I got every Korok seed, some I'd never found before. Most of them I had. And I did everything using this app, it giving me voice directions to go northwest and down. Not many
Mm.
games tell you whether to go up or down. This did a really good job of doing that. And it's kind of a
So
game changer for me.
so when
Like,
you're talking about the app, we should say like that's the mobile app on your phone, right?
yes. So you have to use on your phone the official Switch app, and then there's a sub section in there called Zelda Notes, and it will link to your old game. And they've added the ability to have two save files now, so you can have your old, and I started a new one without having to get rid of my other one. And the world kind of hooked me back in, and I just need guidance. Just knowing generally where there's something to be found, and like checking off things as I progress story wise. That's just how I like to play games. I like some structure, and it just turned it into the style of open world game that I love, which is collecting everything, doing everything, scouring an area, seeing everything it has to offer. And it made the game way more fun for me. And it's definitely a game that does not teach you its systems very well the first time you play it. So I've got a lot of hours in it, and starting from fresh and knowing all these things, I literally had to pull myself away from it, which I never thought would happen.
Hmm.
Um, and I was really enjoying myself in the Switch 2 edition. So if you ever really wanted a map and collecting help, uh, the app does a decent job. It's not amazing, but it's something. So, like, am I gonna like? Is that what I'm gonna spend my summer doing? Playing Wild again? What the fuck?
I mean, it is tempting. Like I could see myself trying to go back and do all the shrines that I haven't done yet, but
You
I
did do
like
120 shrines, dude?
no.
Even I did that, bro.
But like it seems weird that it's not in the game. Like, why is it in this separate app? Like, I've seen some
Yeah.
speculation. Some people say that the game designers didn't want it in the game, and then some people are saying, oh, they just want more people downloading the app. I'm not sure, but it's a little weird.
I mean, if I had to pick a word, it would be laziness.
Okay.
Well, this is probably the easiest way we can probably farm out development to some mobile company or something like that, or a mobile division, and they can just do it on their own. And if they succeed, great. If they fail, no one's going to care. It's not going to impede anything we do shipping the game or launching the game. And it can come later. It can,
Yeah, it's true.
whatever. Um, any other stuff you've been?
No, I did play a little bit of Deltarune. This was like a launch title for the Switch 2. Although I only like so chapter 1 and 2, this is the Undertale spiritual successor, I guess it would be called. And chapter 1 and 2 have been out for free for like a couple years now. And so now chapters 3 and 4 are out and combined into just Deltarune, although apparently there's still more chapters coming. But I just still had chapter 1 and 2 and hadn't played those. So I just fired that up and started playing them. But I'm kind of enjoying it. I don't know. There's so many other things I want to play right now. I'm not sure if I will.
So I did a little research on this. I believe the version that just shipped on Switch 2 and I think Xbox and PlayStation as well is chapters 1 through 4.
It is, yeah.
And
So
then,
if you have the chapter 1 and 2, you can continue on if you buy the full game. So
and I believe there's 5, 6, and 7 are still coming for the entire game.
yeah, that's what I heard.
So
So
yeah, I'll be waiting until the game's done. Um, not really interested in playing that episodically. I will add, living the Nintendo life for 9 days or 10 days. I was in a bit of a Metroid like mode last year and I was researching everyone. And one of the most frustrating things when I was in full blue haze mode was, oh, this one's only available on the Switch and Steam. And I'm like, now is the time. Let's go pick up some of those new Metroid likes that are only available on the Switch. And I bought 3. Well, 2. I'm buying 1 tonight. Vigil. Have you heard of this game called Vigil? It's older.
I've
It got
heard of it.
pulled
Yeah.
from the Steam store with licensing issues at some point, and
Oh, I didn't know that.
then it got put back on. I haven't played that yet, but I picked it. It was on sale. And then I think you played this earlier in the year, Blade Chimera.
Yeah, I didn't. I downloaded the demo and
Oh,
played like briefly that, but
I am loving Blade Chimera.
yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking good. The sprite animations and like little lighting things where there's a light source coming from like out from the screen and projecting shadows onto the back. The main character animations, so smooth. I love the bosses so far. This game rules. You got to check it out. You will love it.
Okay, I will add it to my list.
I will say I changed my controls completely. I did not like the default controls. And once I flipped those around, I was having a great time. If you like Metroid likes, This one has like shooting and melee combat and cool platforming stuff. I'm loving this game, and it's not that long. I think it's like 7 hours, 12 completionist.
Now, is this it's from a developer who did some other
Yeah, with it
games, right?
like lava cake or something like that.
Team Ladybug?
Yeah, I'm not even close.
But
Law, I
they
got law right. I knew it was something like that.
so they did Record of Lodoss War,
Yes, that's
uh that one, the two Who Luna Knights, or however you say that, and then Unicorn Overlord.
they did Unicorn Overlord.
I mean, they're I don't know, it's Vanillaware is the developer. I don't know why they're listed. Is
Yeah,
this a Google AI fail?
you know,
Might be.
I wouldn't think that, but I've heard good things about that Lodos War game, and I've never played it, but I might have to after Blade Chimera, and then I'm going to pick up. Was it? Is it Guns of Fury? Is that
Oh
the
yeah. Yeah.
the what's the series from Neo Geo?
Metal Slug.
Yeah, the Metal Slug Metroid like. I'll be checking that out as well. So,
Nice.
pretty good stuff. Yeah, I'm dude. I'm just so into Nintendo these days.
Well, so that's interesting because this was a thing I was starting to think about now. It's like, what, when a multi-platform game comes out, what would it take for you to buy it on the Switch too? And, obviously, as you alluded to at the beginning of this episode, the whole Nindy thing, the idea of like sort of retro style indie games going good on a handheld system. That's kind of what, when the Switch initially came out, there was that. But now we've got the Steam Deck, we've got all the Steam
Yeah.
Deck
Um,
alikes. Um,
I'll put it this way. It was definitely a 12-minute internal decision making process last night whether I go for Steam achievements on this game or just play it on Nintendo. And I was like, Steam, I just wanted to play it on a big TV is the reason I bought it on Switch. And I'm like, well, it's not going to go on sale very much on Nintendo. It's a newer game. And at some point, I get every game for free through a Humble Bundle or something. So it's like, why
yeah.
even buy Steam games anymore? I get them added to my library at some point, no matter what. So that was kind of the decision making process. But it was not lightly done. It took some serious thought.
Yeah, so I think last year there were two games I bought for the Switch, and they were, oh man, I can't remember. So I think World of Goo 2 was one of them.
Yeah, I bought that and never played it because it was
And
it was only available on Switch too.
yeah, and there was
Switch was
another one, and it would, in both cases, I think it was Thank Goodness You're Here. In both cases, they were available on PC only on the Epic Game Store, and then they were on Switch. And so I normally probably would have bought them on Steam to play on the Steam Deck, but went for the Switch instead. So
yeah, it would have to, if it was on PlayStation, I would have bought them all on PlayStation. They just weren't available. Still, we'll take the trophies over anything else. I'm not that sick in the head yet, dude. This isn't like a red poison going through
okay,
my body. Okay,
just
just into
checking
the
where
new
you're at.
system. It's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
You know, despite no grooves, that will lose its luster at some point.
Hmm.
And I've been going through still all the Donkey Kong games. Went through Donkey Kong Country 1, 101% of that. Currently going through Donkey Kong Country 2, which I'd never beaten, and I'm loving it. Uh, Much tighter controls and a lot of nostalgia for part 1, but I think 2 is probably a better game at this point. And yeah, just gonna plugging away at Mario RPG, Super Mario RPG, pardon me, and just living that Nintendo life, brother.
I guess we should mention there's one other launch title that's been getting some attention for the Switch 2, which is Fast Fusion, uh, racing game that's had some comparisons to F-Zero. It's like $20 in Canada, so I'm not sure what that is in the US, but I haven't tried it yet. I probably will check it out at some point, but
Yeah, I
hearing
mean,
good
for
things.
$20, like, what am I doing? It's actually like really embarrassing that I haven't played it yet.
I'm
Um,
surprised. I am very surprised.
but I mean, I would rather give that racing game time to Mario Kart at this point for
Yeah,
reasons.
that's probably the reason I haven't bought it.
I had
But
to make sure I was like very strong in my convictions that this game needs to be roasted. And in order to do it, you got to play it. You can't just play it for 10 minutes and roast away. You got to give it its time and it's got to earn the roast.
Mhm.
I think that's it. I think we have talked a lot about the Switch too.
Now,
And
before we wrap it up, do we need to give a PSA for Jay Cheel's discovery?
well, now we have to.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit on Film Junk, but there may be some people here listening that didn't hear
Okay,
about it.
fair enough. Now we did a lot of experimentation. It seemed to be semi consistent with the original Pro Controller 2, Joy-Con 1, Joy-Con 2, using the NES Virtual Console version of Tetris, like holding down, now, albeit with like a hammer thumb as hard as a human being can press down on a D pad. When Jay would do this, um, it would not register and he'd be holding down and the piece would not be going into free fall mode. And it was very tough for us to recreate it. Like I play games very naturally, very gently, and just it's like I'm simpatico with a controller. We have a give and take relationship. It's probably why I don't experience drift or any of these other issues people have. I'm a nurturer. Grooves, no grooves, doesn't matter. We're together in this. Jay seems to have somewhat of an adversarial relationship with the controller, but he was correct. There were issues registering D-pad inputs on those controllers. So we couldn't find a lot of info out there, but beware and let us know if this is an issue for you or if it's revealed itself in other games in the comments, youtube.com/game junk. Jay would love some backup, some evidence on this.
Yep, happened for Switch 1 and Switch 2. Was, across multiple controllers, seemed to be an issue with the D-pad specifically. I don't know if it's just for
Did
like
it
the
happen in Game Boy Tetris? I don't think it did.
I don't remember now, but it seemed like it was specific to the Nintendo Switch Online games. I don't know if we ever recreated it in a regular Switch game. I don't recall.
All right, let's do this. We're doing it, Sean. I know I kind of said it already. We are giving star ratings for the Nintendo Switch console, Mario Kart World, and Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, and Breath of the Wild if you want. Uh, Switch 2 edition. You may go. Let's start us off. Switch 2 console star rating.
Okay, Switch 2 console. I mean, hardware specifically.
The console itself.
Yeah, it's probably like a 4.5. I mean, the console is really, really great.
I'm right there with you. 4.5, Sean. Um, Mario Kart World Tour.
Kart World Tour. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5.
I'm right there with you, Sean. It's probably a little higher, but got to lean into the roast a tiny bit, just get a little toasty. I'm loving it, Sean. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour.
I will give it a 3 out of 5.
I will give it a 4.5. Sean has barely played it. He has not given it its due.
That is true. That is 100% true.
And Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 edition.
I can't. I really didn't even play it. I watched you play it. So
With
five,
the
5
Zelda
out of 5.
app. I will give it a 5 out of 5. It's taken years, but
Redemption.
it's finally what I need it to be. So let us know what your thoughts are on the Switch 2. Tell us why Mario Kart's actually amazing. Like every post I see on Reddit, like you know what the fuck you're talking about. It's terrible. Mario Kart's always good. It's not an excuse for having a completely featureless game. But I still will continue to play it. Sean, anything else we need to add here? What do we want to hear about from the people? Any Switch 2 nightmares? Any
I
debacles?
mean, I am curious how easy it is to find out there right now because, launch week, it seemed like there was tons of stock in stores. I don't know if that's still the case. I'm curious.
Let us know. YouTube.com/game junk, and the Discord links are there as well. Next week, I'm probably still going to be in hardcore Nintendo mode.
We got the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct.
Nice. I think that Remedy multiplayer game Firebreak comes out on PlayStation Plus tonight at midnight.
And Game Pass.
Definitely need to roast that thing. Was there another big game release this year or this week? Pardon me.
I know The Alters just came out. Actually, hearing good things about it, but I don't really know much about it.
The Alters?
The Alters, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think I kind of heard about that. Looks like a fucking turd. Okay. Thank you for listening or watching. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.